So just as we were saying, so that will be it. So cosec is, I think I made a mistake actually. Cosec is what? Opposite all over. Hypotenuse all over. Listen, so it will be h all over opposite, right?
Yes.
And I wrote over a. I wrote over adjacent rather instead.
Yes.
Oh, that I made a mistake. So then you use this one to find for the answer. Are we getting it? Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. Now, let's do some more questions. Let's I don't think you jump. You said, is someone talking to me?
Sir, please. No.
Talk to me.
Sir, please, nobody is talking to me.
You said what?
Sir, please, nothing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now, let's also do one or two things. Let's consider trigonometric ratios of general angle. Trigonometric ratios of general angle. Trigonometric ratios of general angle. Now, before that, let me also consider this. This you do it in commas, but I want to teach you so that when you go to commas, you won't find any problem. So that now, elective mass, I don't think it's in it. So let's do. Now we've been able to establish all these things, so you all understand how this things works. Now let's trigonometric ratios of 30, 45, and 60 degrees. Trigonometric ratios of 30, of 30, of 30. There's 30 degrees, so 45 degrees, and 60 degrees, and 60 degrees. Now, given this, for the angles, so we have 0 degrees, 30, 45, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and other angles for which are associated acute angles, like 120, 150, 225, 300. I'll teach you all these things. Now, when I'm given something like this, I will have to still draw my triangle. That's one thing they do just so that you can be able to say some of the acute some of the identities offered, the values of the identities offered, given some of the angles. So there's no component that I'll teach you, but just so we have something like this. We have something. We also have something like this. Let me put it this way. This is supposed to be in short dashes, but let me just do it. So you basically, you and I will agree that this side and this side are equal. This side and this side are equal, and
Yes.
this is the height. This one will form 90 degrees. This one also form 90 degrees. It's just a representation of this thing, a mirror of this one. That is basically what is it. Now, if you are given angles of, if here is 30, if the angle here, if the angle here is 60, then yes, the angle here is 30. Already we know that here is 95. Already we know that. Now, when I are given 2 here, there's what the distance. There's one of the strategies they use in finding some of the distance. So the nearest 1. Then from the triangle, so from this triangle, sin 30 is equal to cos 60. Now let me explain why it is equal to cos 60. So sin 30, What is sine 30? Sine 30 here is equivalent to like sine x. Yes, sine x will be what? What is sine x? There's sine 30 is this. Oh, sine 30 is this. So what will be sine s? So this is the opposite. You know that we are talking about this angle. So this is the opposite of this angle. So opposite of this angle is 1, right? So all over hypotenuse. Do you get it?
Not quite.
I said sine 30. There's the angle. Just just forget that maybe there's 30 here. Let's say sine x. Sine x here. So let's say here the x is here and here is y. But they are all angles. Sine x, I told you that the opposite normally depends on the angle in question. So the side which is opposite to the angle is what we call the opposite. So if you are considering this angle, if this angle is the angle under consideration, the opposite of this angle is this side, and the adjacent of this is this, because this is near to the angle we are talking about per the definition I gave you. Then always this side will be your hypotenuse. So if you are to consider this angle in question, sine 30 will be equal to the opposite, which is so opposite all over hypotenuse. There is it. Do you get it now?
Yes, sir.
If you don't get it, still tell me. PSA, do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Ruben, do you get it?
Yes, sir.
So now sine 30 will give us what? So sine 30 will be equal to, is equivalent to 1 all over. It's equivalent to 1 all over what? 1 all over 2. So now we are saying that sine 30 is equal to 1 all over 2. Now this sine 30 is equal to 1 over 2. It's also equal to, let's find cos 60. Cos 60. What will be cos 60? Tell me cos 60. Tell me cos 60. Is that cos 60 is what?
Say half.
Cos 60. So cos 2 is half. So 1 over 2. Now, so this means that sine 30 is equal to cos 60. Now, punch it on your calculator. Punch the both of them and see if you get half. Punch both of them on your calculator and see if you get half.
Calculator.
What did you get?
1 over 2.
PSA, did you get the same thing?
So
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, we are also saying that cos 30. What is cos 30? Now, what is cos 30? What is cos 30?
root 3 all over 2.
You said
Root 3 all over 2.
root 3 all over 2. All over 2. Now, what is sine? What is sine 60? What is sine 60?
The same root 3 all over 2.
Root 3 all over 2. So this also means that sine 30 is always equal to sine. Cos 30 is always equal to sine 60. So punch it on your calculator and see. Check if I'm lying. Did you get the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Great,
Yes, sir.
great.
So
Now let's.
it means that 2 sine 30 is the same as cos 60.
Did you get the same answer?
Yes, sir, but I'm trying to ask whether 2 sine 30 is the same as cos 60.
And I'm also trying to say that punch it on your calculator and see. What you're saying, punch it on your calculator and see.
So I've punched it. And
Did you get the
they are
same
the
answer?
same.
Did you get the same answer?
Yes, sir.
Good. If you had the same answer, then no problem. That is it. So let's also do tan 30. What are you getting for tan 30? So now tan 30 can be equal to 1 all over root 3, right?
Root 3 all over root 3.
Root 3 all over root 3 is 1 all over 3. 1 all over root 3. According to said mathematics said, you are going to conjugate. So when you conjugate, you are going to get 1 all over 3. It's the same thing. You can just punch it on your calculator, you get the same thing. So the answer in decimal, the answer is 0.5774. Tan 60, what will be tan 62? Tan 60 will be what? Root 3, right? It will be root 3 all over 1.
Root 3.
So it will be root 3. Now also check cos theta. Cos 0. Check cos 0. Cos 0 is equal to sine 90, which is equal to 1. So check the two and let's see. Cos 0.
1.
Cos 0 is what? 1.
Yes, sir.
Check sine 90. Check sine 90.
Sine 92 is 1.
Yes, my shares came to light. Tell me. Is that what? It's also not 1, eh?
Sir.
Yeah, talk to me.
Yes, sir, it's 1.
Great. So then now we can say that cos 0 and sine 90 is the same, or they are the same. Ruben, talk to me.
I say the triangle that you've drawn, how did you know that like the angle opposite is sine, cos? Like how did you know that cos is used for this one and then sine is used for that one?
Frame your question again. I'm not getting it. How did I know that cos is equal to adjacent all over hypotenuse?
No, like say the way that the
3 and the 1 and the 2 are written.
yes.
Okay, so this one is.
How,
Okay, talk to me. How did I get to know that 2 all over 1 and root 3?
so where the 30 degrees is, how did you know that the sign will be it's supposed to be sine 30?
How did I know that the sign is
Like
supposed to be what?
how did you know that it's sine 30? Where the 30 degrees is, how do you know that it's supposed to be sine 30?
I'm not getting your question, but if I'm getting what you are saying, how did I know that this year is sine 30 and here is maybe sine 60 or something?
Yes.
You can just assign any.
Yes.
You can assign tan to this. It's an angle. Once it's an angle, you can assign any trig identity to it. So this one can be sine 30. You can find the cos 30 of it. You can find the tan 30 of it. You can find the cosec 30 of this. You can find the anything of this. You can also find the same. Once it's an angle, it doesn't mean that changing and this should be sine. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But I was
sir.
just using the sine and the cos to explain something. That every time your sine and your sine 30 and cos 60 is always the same, or is the same thing. So there are some instances, if you know this, when you go to the examination when your calculator is not even working, immediately you see sine 30, you should be able to know the answer off head. Immediately you see cos 60, you should be able to also know the answer off head. That's without using tables. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or do you get what I'm telling you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know the Bible. Sorry, hold on. I know the Bible to the talk. Explain. Is it your guess my fears came to light? What's up? Like, tell me what they go on. Tell me at the break. I make confused. So I'm coming. Just see the messages for the page inside. Then say the thing make critical, Charlie. My heart self cut. So that is it. So these are one or two things that this thing. So you should be able to get tens of it. Now the same thing. You realize that assuming here is 45 and here is 45. If here is 45 and here is 45. So don't mind, pardon me, Charlie. So here is 45. And here is maybe root 2. And here is 1. And here is 1. Oh, brother. So
How do you say, please? How did you get the root 2 and the 1 for
now you know that when we are considering this one,
values of yes,
now
sir.
this one, I'm even confused. A friend just passed away. I was just sent a message that someone passed away. I've just been sent a message that she passed away. So we have to study. So let's just do it. So you realize that this one, when we are doing this, maybe we are considering maybe an isosceles triangle. Now you realize that an isosceles triangle, two of the sides are equal. One side is different. Do you know that? And so let's say the first one we consider, this one is an equilateral triangle. Now let's consider an isosceles triangle. So you know an isosceles triangle, two sides are equal, one side is different. I hope that you bear with me. Oh, now
Yes, sir.
based on the points and the distance the calculators were giving us, someone sat down to be able to devise a means that will help us, or that will enable us to be able to tell it without using calculators. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Let's take note that tan 90 is math error and tan theta is 0. And all these things, they use mathematics to be able to tell all these things. And so one of the mathematical tools they used was first to consider an isosceles triangle. And then now they consider that, okay, the hypotenuse is root 2. Let's consider hypotenuse being root 2 and here being 1 and 1. So if here is 2 and 2 and here is another root something, you should be able to still get the same answer you are looking for. Yes, because 1 all over 1 is the same as 1. 2 over 2 is the same as 1. Are you what I'm trying to say? So we are considering this having two sides being equal and this one having a different size being different. Then we will consider, okay, if we have root 2 and we have 1 and 1, how should we do this thing? So now cos 45 is what? What is cos 45? What is cos 45? So how do we get cos 45? Using this calculation. What we just learned. So cos 45 will be what? Cos 45 will be what? Root 2 all over 2, right? Or root 1,
Root 2.
root 2 all over what?
Root 2.
Root 2 all over root 2. I'm not getting it. So cos 45 will be cos 45. If you are considering this angle, cos is what? Right, adjacent all over hypotenuse. So it will be root 2 all over 1 all over root 2. Check. That will give us, that is equivalent to root 2 all over 2. So it will give us 0.7071. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's
Yes,
also
sir.
check sine. We can also use the same formula. Let's also
Yes,
check
sir.
sine. Let's also check sine 40. Sine 45. Let's also check sine 45.
The same root 2 all over 2.
Is that
The same root 2 all over 2. So the same root 2 all over 2.
okay? So that is it. So these are one or two things we've been able to derive from it. Now let's also consider. I'm not really feeling fine, but let's just continue. So that is it. So at least without a calculator, you should be able to tell some of these identities, some of these identities of it. Some of these identities of it. Some of these identities of it. Can I clean it? Remind me.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No, sir. No.
Okay, so write it. Write it. So does that mean that all the prayers you're voicing in Tiana? You see, so current we have contributed earlier, so we a bit margin income. Idea protocols, bureaucracy, yes, call high, call has a manufacturing. Teba fresh now we couldn't be conference now, you know, to me, Naska and Kaze, any idea intent them. I'm very serious, I didn't even die. Yeah, hello. Hold on now. Hello. 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 Sorry, my network went off. Someone just called. So, how many minutes do you have left? I'm not very fine. So let's do. Let me give you some questions, and please, I beg. I have to attend to this issues. So let me give you some questions to try and send it to me via WhatsApp. Find the values of sine 120. Find the values of sine 120, cos 240, cos 240. Find the values of sine 120, cos 240. Are you there? Are you writing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me also give you another one. If theta is greater or equal to 0. If theta is greater or equal to 0. If theta is greater or equal to 0. And this, if you have this, and tan theta is equal to 3 all over 4. We go to 3 all over 4. Find sine theta and cos theta. 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 Now, let's question 1. Rather. If I write in if cos p is equal to 3 all over 5. First, we are doing lightness. After that, we do forces and the rest. I'll take you through all those things. If cos p is equal to 3 all over 5. If cos p is equal to 3 all over 5. POC, did you understand the forces you were taught at school?
Sir, somehow.
If cos p is equal to 3 all over 5, where theta? So will you mind if I go back and do it again?
Okay.
So if cos p is equal to 3 all over 5, where p is greater or equal to 0 theta is greater than 0 and less than 90. Find the value of tan p all over cos p. Find the value of tan p all over cos p. Find the value of tan p all over cos. Find the value of tan p all over cos p. Are we there? Are we there?
Yes, sir.
If cos p is equal to 3 all over 5, where
Yes, sir.
p is greater than 0 but less than 90 degrees, find the value of tan p all over cos p. Please do this and send it to me on WhatsApp. I beg. Let's meet at 11:30. Yeah. I'll force and come and teach.
Okay.
Let's meet at 11:30. Bye.
So should
You said what? I can't hear you. You said what?
Should we?
Yeah, the class. We've ended the class.
So, see you later.
Okay.